Foods, Tiger Brands and Premier Foods were found guilty of fixing the price of bread in 2007. Black Sash, together with other groups, launched a class action in 2010 seeking damages against the companies. Black Sash couldn't be granted a class certification order to represent consumers on the basis they had failed to give a proper definition of the class they were representing. After a failed appeal, they filed a petition with the Supreme Court, and the case was heard yesterday in BLOEMFONTEIN. Now, NYEMBEZI is manager for Black Sash Advocacy Program. Is here to tell us more. NKOSIKHULULE, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. The outcome of the case in BLOEMFONTEIN, the hearing yesterday?
We await the outcome, but the hearing went very well because the case was heard by 5 judges, and in the manner which they probed into issues, it gives us hope that we can hope for a positive outcome. Yeah,
this matter has been dragging on for a while, though.
It has, because there is no provision for class action law in South Africa, and what we went to ask the court for was for it to provide guidelines as to how to go about to proceed with this class action. First of all, giving us permission as these organizations to speak on behalf of all bread consumers, but also in terms of how to go about whether we collect signatures and petitions, or whether people will be able to opt out having gotten the certificate. So we hope that the court will be able to clarify all those things so that when the issues get into start, we can proceed with speed.
Who are you representing?
We represent all bread consumers in the Western Cape in this case, and the decision to confine the case...
in this case, only the Western Cape?
Only the Western Cape. We decided to confine the case to the Western Cape because we are using the findings of the Competition Commission, and they had specific findings when they found these companies to have been guilty of colluding, and when they find them for all this. So insofar as it deals with the Western Cape, we thought that instead of asking the court to compensate all 50 million South Africans, we may as well confine it to one province. But once we get a positive outcome of the case, we can then be able to extend it to other provinces as well.
The regulatory framework on price fixing, what does it say?
We are disappointed because if you ask what happened since 2007 when competition authorities found these countries guilty, we have gone through a process of asking for amendment of the legislation, the Competition Act, so that we can be able to close the loopholes so that these companies who are guilty of collusion do not benefit from tax breaks, do not benefit from repeat tenders from government. The Act was amended, and we sit with Act number 1 of 2009, but we still do not benefit from the provisions of that Act because we're waiting for the President to announce the implementation date. And we say we are very disappointed because the President still has not announced the date, and Parliament, as an oversight body that passed this legislation, is not doing anything to push things through.
Why are things moving so slowly?
We think there's lack of political will in South Africa to deal with these issues. The relationship between government and the private sector is not well regulated, and we do know that government...
But you've got all these regulatory bodies, including the Competition Commission.
This act we're talking about, the amendments, is meant to put more tools into the toolbox so that the Competition Commission can move with speed in terms of investigation and in terms of concluding the cases and in terms of penalties that they impose. But because the President has not given the implementation date, we do not benefit from the Act.
Yeah. So where to now? We await the outcome of the hearing yesterday, and then what?
We will proceed to mobilize support for communities in terms of encouraging them to form bread committees so that we can collect testimonies. And of course, we wait for the outcome from the court in the hope that before the end of the year we'll get the outcome such that come 2013 we can be able to start with the trial proper, where we then ask for court to compel these companies to compensate us and give us monetary compensation, and we hope to use that money to put it into a trust fund so that we can educate the consumers about these issues and for poverty alleviation.
School nutrition, is that affected in the Western Cape?
Very much so, and throughout the country, because we understand that government provides the school nutrition program where children get bread and peanut butter. And in the case now that the price of bread has been artificially increased and has not even gone down, in fact, even after these companies have admitted to colluding, it means that we are unable to feed the school children throughout the year. The budget falls short because the price of bread and other foodstuff is very high. And in fact, what we have also noted is that these companies, they just budget the fine that they anticipate they may be levied by the competition authorities into their annual budgets and they pass down the cost to the consumers. So it means that even though they have been fined, that has not made any dent in terms of their profits, and that is why we say we need to get compensation.
There has been a fine of 99 million rand.
Yes, and that fine went into the treasury, into the, it was used for all sorts of things.
But now, I mean, is it possible to win a class action after that fine? Wouldn't that be a double whammy?
It is possible because the Competition Act itself says that the findings of the competition authorities do not preclude individuals affected from taking a class action and for asking for damages. And hence, the competition authorities then issued a certificate which then provides evidence and the sequence of events as to what happened. And we hope to use that finding and that certificate to prove our case in court. And hence, we say that consumers need to be compensated.
Thank you very much. NKOSIKHULULE NYEMBEZI is Program Manager, Advocacy Program Manager at Black Sash, joining us this morning. Pioneer Foods, Tiger Brands and Premier Foods were found guilty of fixing the price of bread in 2007. Now, Black Sash, together with other groups, launched a class action in 2010.